Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. Hotep. Shalom alaikum. Peace. This is Tracy Lene Muhammad, and I wanted a few minutes of your precious Saturday morning to talk to you or to give you a tool that may be useful for you when dealing with soul work, releasing energy patterns of negativity that come from other people and you've accepted it as your own, or to talk to people that it's difficult to get a conversation in with. Maybe they've already transitioned or they're just not very open and receptive to hearing you, but you know you need to get it out. You can talk to their soul. You can put a chair in front of you and you sit in a chair. I would suggest you take about 5 minutes of just meditation, breathing in slow and out slow through your nose without your shoulders reacting to it. The belly breathing where you inhale and exhale to calm your spirit. So when you go to talk to somebody's soul, anger and bitterness, frustration and worry will shut them down. Souls only respond in love and compassion and peace. You can have a conversation and say the things you need to say. Speak about the situation in a way that not only allows them to be receptive, but it's not about your ego. When we give our entire heart to someone, most times they hurt you. It's not personal. We're just flawed, and each of us have things we're working on. So if you make me responsible for you, some of my flaws will spill out onto you and hurt you. So don't make me responsible for you. You be responsible for you. You can share your heart with me, but when you give me your entire heart, that's too much. It's too much responsibility. I've done that before. I've given my entire heart to someone to have them just not know what to do with it, not because I'm not amazing and spectacular and they don't recognize that, but because they're damaged, and damaged people do damaged things. So giving my heart to them was a mistake on my part. What I should have done is shared my heart, shared my love, shared my joy, shared my peace, but knew when to say, okay, you don't respect me. You don't know loyalty. So let me back away. The part that I'm sharing with you, I will just put it on over to the side and it'll be here and available if you decide to change, if you decide to change in time before I give it that piece to somebody else. But talking to their soul allows you to say the things that you know need to be said, but may not be received by them. It's a real conversation where you're breathing in and relaxing first, and then you're saying and asking permission. I'd like to talk to the soul of such and such. And wait for that contact. You'll feel it where you feel like their soul has entered. Let me tell you, have you ever been thinking about a person and then they call? That's because you've made soul contact. You think about them and then you see them somewhere. You've made soul contact and brought them into your space. So this isn't far-fetched. Make soul contact and then talk to them from a place of compassion. And that's also the time where you can decide to sever ties with them and send them on their way. That's the time when you can forgive them. You can ask forgiveness. There's so much that can happen with this soul work of just allowing yourself the place and the space to let go. I talk a lot on my channel about letting go because I know the only way to the best life is to let go of the things that are holding you back. It's like you're running a race, but you have tires tied around your waist and hanging from you, and you're trying to get a fast pace. You're not going to be able to because they're weighing you down. Cut those tires free and soar. Run. You won't even be able to take flight with the tires holding you down. So cut those things free. Understand that you cannot care more about a person than they care about themselves. That's impossible. It is impossible for you to love somebody more than they want to be loved. Yeah, they say there's nothing impossible. Well, I say it's impossible to make somebody something that they don't want to be. I don't believe in that. And I think that when we go into relationships and we say, make me happy, that's not possible. Make yourself happy and allow them to accessorize that happy. And when they get into a space, or you get into a space where you're bringing more, I like the word fuckery into people's lives, it may be time to step back for a while. Sometimes it's time to step back for a lifetime. Only you know that. It's not for me or anybody to tell you when to do what. All I know is when you love yourself, when you are the gatekeeper of your heart, when you understand that you have to cultivate your mind, you will not allow just anything in it. You will not give space and time. When you truly understand that the existence that you have is on purpose and on time and for something, and you focus on that something, all else goes away. Who you were a year ago, that doesn't have to be you. And if you're involved with people who like to remind you about the things that you used to do, you have some choices to make. Now, if you're still doing them, you don't get to say, well, you can say it, but it's kind of asinine to say, oh, don't hold me to that. Don't hold me to that when you're still doing it. That's asinine. But that's up to them to decide, well, you're still doing it, so they need to sail on by. When you share things with people, understand that they're going to meet it where they can meet it, not where you need them to meet it. So sometimes we're just gossiping our life. I was one years ago. I was going through some shit, and I would talk to anybody who listened. I was gossiping my life because I was in so much pain, and I didn't want to take responsibility for my part in it. I didn't want to recognize that I have rights and I could do things differently. So I wanted cheerleaders, and I wanted people to pat me on my shoulders. You're so amazing and wonderful. Woo woo. I wanted all of that. And then one day, I said, what the fuck am I doing? This is Tracy. I don't need anybody to tell me how to live my life. I'm self-sufficient and I can do this. And then I started reading the Holy Quran from cover to cover. From 2006 to 2016, I read it every month from cover to cover. And for the first 2 years, I didn't understand nothing I was reading, but I kept reading it. And now it comes out of me. It oozes out of my pores. I was young when I read the Bible from cover to cover, and a lot of it still resonates with me. The spirituality in me is really high, and I don't need anybody to tell me that. I decided that for me, religion was micromanagement of my spirituality, and I didn't want that. I got all that I could get. I could use those tools. I'm grateful for them, for the two major religions that I was a part of, but then I could soar. And I lost a lot of relationships because they were religious, and me leaving those religions meant they had to leave me. And I have to accept that because they have a right to be who they are, and I have a right to be who I am. I don't have a right to tell you how to live your life, but you're not going to tell me how to live mine either. It's an ongoing struggle in the world. I also this morning was scrolling Instagram. I like to look at it. I have a lot of spiritual people that I follow, and I love the way it's always synchronistically coming down the timeline, saying the same thing with different people's spins on it. And I said, I love that my Instagram and my Facebook is filled with people with high vibrations, which says I have a high vibration. People that say all men are dogs. Well, that's because they're vibrating at the level where they're meeting all doggish men. Then you have people that understand that not everybody is the same, and they're vibrating at that level where they can recognize that some people are this way and some are not. And then you have people that only look for the good in everybody. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm headed. I'm not quite there yet, but that's where I'm heading. When you only see the good in people, one of two things happen. The people show all their goodness, or those people leave and new people come in. If they just don't have it, sometimes people just cannot change because they're so stuck in their ego and their pride, and they cannot change. And usually what happens, we see this a lot, when you remove yourself completely, they have a time to breathe and see what life is like without you. Then they want to change. It's up to you whether you want to allow. I would never walk back to them if I were you. You make them walk up to you. You make them come to you, to your level. Don't go back to their level, else you're going to be back in that same shit. Because some people just need to have you because they are hoarders. They hoard people, they hoard things, and they just want to hoard you. It's not personal. They don't really want you. They just want to hoard you. So if you have a voice, they don't want to hear your voice. They just want to hoard you. You know if that's what you're dealing with. And you know how to get out of it if you want to. You're very capable. You're so brilliant. You're so brilliant and so amazing. And I'm not just saying this. I do believe every person on the planet is brilliant and amazing. It's unfortunate that some people use their brilliance and amazing to hold down people who don't know they're brilliant and amazing, or that they are manipulators or liars or whatever is going on in their life. And sometimes it's directly connected to something that they've been through that they're not dealing with. But that's not for you to deal with. It's like, I use this a lot, laying on the ground and then getting mad when people walk over you. You're laying on the ground. Get your ass up. Stand up. If something is like this, it's very difficult to walk over top of it. But if it's like this, it's very easy to walk over top of it. So stand up, and you can't be walked over. When you stand up, when you learn, never give your entire heart to another person, because we're all dealing with something. When you hand me your entire heart, I can't handle you and me. So more than likely, my flaws are going to come out and they're going to damage you. And then you're going to blame me and say, how could you do this to me? Instead of saying, what the fuck I give you my whole heart for? What the fuck was I thinking? And taking responsibility and saying I should have shared pieces of me, not to be, not in a way where you're being sneaky and not letting people in, because I'm transparent. I learned a long time ago that no matter what I tell you about me, you can't hurt me except I allow it. You can run. When I was younger, I would gossip my life to anybody that would listen, thinking that I was either helping them or them helping me. But what I was doing is gossiping my life, and they could go and gossip it to somebody else. That doesn't hurt me. That really doesn't attach itself to me. That's on them. And you can look at me and judge me from knowing me whenever you knew me, or the things I did, and hold me in that. And the only way it holds me back is if I stay in there and let it. If I keep it moving, it doesn't. Now, if I'm still, I say this a lot because lots of times I hear people say, don't judge me for what I used to do, but they're still doing those things. So, and it's not a judgment, it's a recognition that you're still in the same space, telling people don't judge you for the space you used to be in, and you ain't moved. But guess what? If the person can see it, then they haven't moved either. Because when you move, when you get out of the way, the line of fire of fuckery, you can't really see the fuckery because you're not in the line of fire of it. And people fade away from your life. They do. They fade away because they're in a space doing what they need to do with their life, and you're in a space doing what you need to do with your life. Sitting down and talking to their soul can release you of some guilt, some shame, some fear, some bitterness, some anger. But understand, you got to do it with compassion. Releasing people from the spark in your heart that is for somebody who's going to love you and treasure you. Release them from that. Move them over to the side of the place where, you go, okay, I hope nothing bad happens to you, but you move on over here and leave that space open until somebody worthy fulfills it. But in the meantime, just fulfill yourself. You can do it. You are so capable, and you're never alone. You are with you. You don't never need to bash people. Have compassion for them. Understand that saying hurt people is true. But that doesn't mean you got to stand in the line of fire while they're doing that. You can offer them peace. You can offer them love. You can offer them joy. Sometimes you got to do it from afar. If you're in a relationship and you know in your gut that this is not the person that honors you the best, you got to let go and move on so you can get that person to come into your life. I don't believe that just because you get married, you have to stay married forever if it's not working for a long period of time, or if the person has decided that the way they want to live your life is a deal breaker for you, and that's up to you to decide what a deal breaker is. I don't think you have to just stay. That's, to me, religious bullshit, that think that God wants you to just stay with somebody who isn't honoring marriage in any way, and you're supposed to just stay there honoring it. I don't believe that. I don't believe that's a God of anybody. I think that's man's way of controlling life and situation. And it's the ego thinking that I'm going to stay and I'm going to change you. You're going to change because you're going to see how amazing I am and you're going to change. Never in the history of ever has anybody ever changed because you wanted them to. People only change when they want to change. Now, they may see your value and decide, well, I'm going to change this behavior because I don't want to lose this person. But that's still about them. It's always about you. It's always about me, because we are individuals. Even though we're interconnected, we are still individually living our lives. I believe that I am a God from the highest God, a piece of that God. So are you. So is every being on the planet. I also don't believe that God is this perfect being that never does anything wrong. It's clear. I look at nature. I look at things that there are things, I don't like the word wrong. There are things that I don't like the way they go, but they are all a part of the way it has to go. So I do believe that there's some people that possess that part of God that has more negative charge to it, but they can change that. And there are people who have more positive and they can change that and have even more. So you enjoy your Saturday. I hope that something I said resonated with you. I hope that you decide to listen, to like, to subscribe, to click the bell to hear when I'm coming on, which will be every day, because I've made a commitment to myself to come and to share what I've learned, the tools I've learned that help me. I don't do anything that came directly from me and I made it up. It's coming from somewhere. It just comes through me. And I'm grateful, grateful, grateful. You have a blessed Saturday. Assalamu alaikum. Namaste, Hotep. Shalom alaikum. Peace out to Brooklyn and everywhere else.